Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Adam, how's it going? How's DC?
It's going great, Stephen. DC's good. It's cold.
Yeah,
But as I just mentioned, we finally moved into our new place, so we're all settled in.
that's
So,
awesome.
DC. So, Stephen, if you ever want to visit, and of course not tell me, you have a place to stay. But and then Chike,
You're
of
the
course,
one
you're
that
always invited, Chike. Stephen, yeah, let me know when you leave town again and say, oh, I was just there, and then I'll say, oh, good. We had a bed
that's
all ready
you.
for you.
That's you. Whatever.
I learned it from you.
You learn from the best.
Exactly.
Congratulations, though. That's
Yeah.
big.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so what's going on in the wonderful world of movie reviews?
Yeah, so I got a chance to catch one movie and then a couple of series. And the movie I want to talk about is actually a documentary that's not out yet about Lee Fields, and it's called Lee Fields Faithful Man, and it's in the kind of festival circuit right now, and we saw it through New York Doc Film Fest, I guess. And Lee Fields, if you don't know, is a soul singer who was very popular in the late 60s, early 70s, and kind of performed soul and funk throughout his time period. And then the 80s came along, and he was largely kind of what a lot of those soul singers kind of lost to time until the 90s and the 2000s, where there's a resurgence of his popularity. His music sampled, like a Travis Scott song uses a sample of his music and things like that, and kind of his resurgence of where he came from, how he got to be who he was in the 70s, how he kind of settled into New Jersey and like lived his life, and then again the new generation finding him and making new music with him, and he's releasing new albums and things like that. So definitely a great kind of documentary. If you like musician documentaries, this is a fun one. This is a good one, and he's still out there. He's still performing. I think he's in his 70s, and he's still got a lot of energy. So definitely, again, check it out. Lee Fields, Faithful Man. And then, other than that, like I said, with the move happening and Thanksgiving and kind of all the holiday just taking up a lot of our time, the only other thing we got to do is I finished Andor. Great series. Again, I'll talk about this probably until the end of the year, but Star Wars prequel to Rogue One. It's really a good ground up story about fighting the Empire for like the everyman. So, there's no Jedi, there's no special Skywalkers, there's no anyone that's like famous. It's really just kind of the ground up, uh, gritty Star Wars story that I think goes back to kind of the original series.
Mhm.
And then finally, Wednesday. So Wednesday Adams, the TV show that came out on Netflix right around Thanksgiving. It's another addition to the Adams family world. And this time, Jenna Ortega stars as Wednesday Adams, and she is sent to a special school, I guess, where people have different powers. There's like werewolves and things like that there. And she has to solve a monster murder mystery. So best way to describe this is if you know kind of like those CW shows and things like that. This is along those lines, but I thought it was really fun. It's kind of cool to be in the Adams family world. That thing is in it, Gomez, Uncle Fester, the whole gang is there that comes in and out throughout the series, but it's really just a fun show that has a little mystery involved in it. And it's Netflix. It's an easy watch, but Jenna Ortega did a great job of just kind of like setting up that character, and she really became that character. And if you've seen her in anything else, she's really kind of that fun person. So seeing her as this kind of dark, demented teen was a kind of a fun twist. But yeah, highly recommend. And yeah, that's it for me.
But even the one that played her, the one that we grew up on, she plays
Christina
in
Ricci.
Yep.
yeah, she's in there. But they were clowning the guy that plays the dad. They're saying why they pick him.
Louis
Because
Guzman. Louis
Bill
Guzman.
Goodman. He's hilarious
Yeah.
though. But
Yeah,
I was just seeing the feedback on Twitter. But
it's interesting because I guess I haven't seen the animated series, but he kind of looks like he does in the animated series. So I think they
mhm,
kind of went with that as their
yeah,
inspiration.
yeah.
Yeah. I was going to talk about that one as well. And that was going to be one of my things that I spoke on was the casting. I probably wouldn't have casted with those particular people, but it still is entertaining. It's funny. Although I don't approve of him as being Gomez, he does make me laugh. And what's the woman's name from Game of Thrones? Gwendolyn Christie.
Oh
She,
yeah,
what was her character on Game of Thrones? So people know who I'm talking about.
she was the knight that was protecting Jaime Lannister,
Right,
and then
the woman knight.
yes. Hmm.
Yeah. It's good to see her in a nice glamorous role, being extra feminine and pretty. It's nice seeing her that way.
You mean her playing the devil in the Sandman series wasn't enough?
No, no, I like her. I like her in this role.
Yeah,
Uh,
she did a great job.
yeah, and I would describe this, if you haven't seen Wednesday yet, or if you're thinking about watching it, it's like the Addams Family meets Harry Potter. That's what it
Hmm.
reminds me of. So yeah, it's definitely a good watch. Um, Another series that I'm watching, it's The Killing Fields in Texas. It's a docu-series, and it's basically discussing the time frame from the early 70s, well, technically the late 60s to the mid 80s, in this stretch of land in Texas where it's nothing but fields and it's barren land that's owned by the oil companies. They bought up a whole bunch of land and it's undeveloped land, but they started finding skeletons on the land. So it was a place where people that committed murders would dump bodies. And it started off with someone was out walking their dog and the dog ran off and then came back with was allegedly a ball, but it wasn't a ball, it was someone's skull. And then
Wow.
that got them looking and excavating the land. And then every time they would go out to look, they would find another body. And they would only be like a few feet or a few kilometers away from the previous body. And this went on for years. And then the rumor, that's why they started calling it the killing fields, because the rumor was, oh, if you want to kill someone, you can just go down there and dump it in the killing fields and no one would ever find you. And so you see them talking to several families that have lost loved ones, and it's a thing down there now. It's part of the culture. If a person goes missing and you can't find them, then they're probably in the killing fields. So now these people are now solving these cases years later, and they're finding the bodies in the killing field. It's pretty interesting and scary at the same time to know that collectively these murderers know that if I put a body in this space, no one's ever going to find it. I can just kill someone and throw the body there or hide it in this space and I'm good. So definitely watch it. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I think you were out the week I was talking about that BJ Novak movie Vengeance. I don't know if you happened to see it, but
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, it starts with a murder that happens like near, kind of in that same, like far enough from an oil rig, but like in that whole West Texas field. And it's like the body was found in 3 overlapping jurisdictions. And it was just like, they put him there to never be solved. And I didn't think much of it, but I guess that's a reference to what really happens.
Yeah, yeah. And the next series that I'm watching is called George and Tammy, and that's on the Showtime network, which stars Jessica Chastain and Michael Shannon. We know who Jessica Chastain is. Michael Shannon, you know him from Boardwalk Empire. He was the religious zealot FBI agent who turned criminal, trying to chase Nucky Thompson. This is the first episode, and it was pretty intense because George and Tammy pretty much had a very volatile relationship. It was a very loving but very hot relationship, and drinking, fighting, gunplay, you know, all the makings from a good country and western song. Tammy Wynette's famous song was called "Stand by Your Man," and she sang that song with conviction because her man was taking her through hell, but she stood there by him. And just in the first episode, they're both married to 2 different people, but you see how they start to come together, and how they get together is pretty traumatic. And that's how the first episode ends. And if you plan on watching it, just pay attention to that part. And that's going to be the temperature for the rest of the
Okay.
shows. It's how they get together, the dynamics that went into them getting together will probably play out through the rest of their relationship. So I'm very curious about this story because they made great music, but the subject matter in their songs is pretty pretty intense because they were actually living what they were singing about.
Yeah.
So yeah. And that's it for me. Oh, we can talk about Black Panther now because I've seen it.
Oh,
And
good.
Steven
What'd you
wants to
think?
come back. Oh yeah, it was
Finally.
awesome. It was awesome. I was a little upset. I was upset in the beginning because I'm one of the ones that I believe that the story is greater than Chadwick Boseman, right?
Mhm.
He's an actor that played a part. These stories have been around long before there was a Chadwick Boseman. And these stories will continue to be around. And I think they needed to honor the stories by recasting him. But once I saw this movie and I finished it, I now feel better about how they handled it and what they did with it. So it was an honor to witness and be a part of it.
I was
Yeah.
devastated at Angela Bassett's character passed.
Yeah, that was
Caught me off guard. I was not expecting that.
and
Really?
they they should have made her Black Panther, but no, they don't. They'll never do that.
No, but I love the new characters. The young girl and what's the guy who played the water guy?
Oh, Namor.
Namor. Yeah, I love this
Submariner.
character. You know, he's been like the breakout star from this audition.
And
But
I was actually shocked.
I agree.
I was actually shocked that they actually put Submariner in a movie because he's not really one of the main characters of Marvel. He's like a sub character. I've always been a fan, so when I found out that he was going to be in the movie, I got excited because it's like, okay, they're giving a C-level character A status.
Oh,
Mhm.
they're running out of superheroes, so they gotta.
Well, I'm
this
going to say this to Steven. The way Angela Bassett existed in Black Panther, she could not continue to be in it as she was because her very aesthetic is going to contradict something that has to happen in the Black Panther storyline. Which,
I
if
still didn't
people
like
don't
it.
follow, T'Challa actually marries Storm, so they could not have Angela Bassett as she was or how she aesthetically looked with Storm coming into the play. Doesn't work.
Well, Steven doesn't like it.
Didn't like it.
I will say, they definitely gave themselves an out in the post credits where they're like, "Oh yeah, here's another kid named T'Challa." So they can go back to it. They said, "You know
Well,
what? We won't bring
that's
the
why I
character
wasn't
back,
mad.
but
That's
they're
why I
bringing the
wasn't mad.
character back." Let's get real.
Yeah.
That's basically them saying in 10 years we'll have a T'Challa back as Black Panther.
And you
And I
know,
was
also,
glad that. Go
I
ahead.
was going to say also too, Marvel in a whole gave themselves an out when they brought in the metaverse, because the
Yes.
metaverse will allow for them to say anything. They can do
Yep.
anything at this point.
No one's really dead. Everyone can come back.
Right.
Also, I love that Michael B. Jordan was in there.
Yes.
You know, I didn't know he was gonna be in there, but I was glad that he had his little. He came back in her dream.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What did you think about the length, Chike? Because again, I said it was about 20, 30 minutes too long. I think they could
To
have
be
tightened up a
honest,
lot of things.
I walked in knowing that it was going to be long,
Okay.
but in the experience of taking the journey with the movie, it didn't feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't like it when a movie gets to a point and you take that breath and you think, okay, it's over, and then it still continues.
That's
I
what
didn't have
happened.
Yes.
that. I didn't
I-
have that.
Steven was
I
getting up from
did.
his seat. Yeah.
I did. I thought it was about to be over, and that's oh, there's more. But it was good. I just was like, oh, when something's coming to an end, but it
Yeah,
wasn't.
exactly. You're ready. Yeah, yeah. A lot of good things. I will say it's also interesting. This is going to be kind of the Marvel world. Ironheart, the student. It's good to see her, and they took her outfit away because they got to give her. She has a TV show, so of course she has to earn that outfit back. It's very interesting how they're really weaving the TV shows to try to force you, like kind of ads for the TV shows in the movies.
Yeah. And that's following after a blueprint from DC. DC does that very well. And what also DC does very well is mix their animated with their feature films. So the animated series are basically the sub stories to what actually happens in the feature films. And
okay,
also
nice.
another series that started on HBO Max too. The new season is Titans. So Titans is another story to the DC characters, the Justice League. So check that out. It's a brand new season.
Well, I've been watching Christmas movies because I love Christmas
What's
movies.
the hit this year?
Well, I want to shout out one of them. It's because I remember when she started shooting it. I think it was last year. Lindsay Lohan. She has one called "Falling for Christmas," and so I had forgotten about it, obviously. But I had been turned on Netflix, and I said, "Oh, I'll watch this." And I love a good hour and 30-minute movie. If it goes longer than I'm thinking, do I have time? But it was actually good. It was good seeing her on the screen. She did a great job acting in it. She plays this. Her dad owns something. They're rich anyway, and so she has people waiting on her hands and foot. She has this boyfriend who is like up there too financially. He's a social media influencer. That's what he is. And so he's all about social media, capturing the moment, whatever. Well, somehow they both fall, and she hits her head, and she forgets who she is. She has amnesia. Of course, the single dad who owns the Christmas shop in town, who has his young daughter, and they're failing business wise and don't know if they'll be able to make it. He finds her, and she starts helping out because she doesn't know who she is. So he lets her. He owns a bed and breakfast, so he lets her stay there while she figures it out. But anyway, so you'll see how it all comes together at the end. But how Christmas movie is always the same thing. Small town, person comes in from the town, falls in love, stay. No one's doing all that.
I can guarantee you, both Chike and I will not see how it ends because we're not going to watch this movie.
Right.
There's only really two Christmas movies I'm interested in, and it's the
Christmas
Story, the new version.
I saw that.
You saw? Was it good?
It was good. It puts you in the same theme of the original, and the guy who plays him, the main character, Ralphie. He looks the exact same, except he's older, but it's about his family today.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I will give a spoiler alert because it happens the very first scene.
Okay.
Well, okay, I won't do it. But well, he said in an interview, so I can tell you.
Okay.
The dad dies. He gets a call that his dad is dead. And so that's why they go visit the mom and spend Christmas there. But and all the characters are there. Everyone's there. The only people who aren't there are his the people that played his parents. They have another one who plays the mom, but the mom's still alive, but I think she's like 82. And the dad, he died in 2006. But they do a lot of tributes to the dad. Like I think it's kind of dedicated to that character. They do
Darren McGavin. He was a good actor. Darren McGavin.
Mm-hmm. And so, but yeah, it was good. It was really good.
So let me ask you this: are they back in his childhood home?
Yes, that's where the mom lives.
Okay.
And so, but yeah, all the characters. Because I was looking up, is that the same person? And it's the same characters that play the roles.
Nice. So I'm interested in seeing that one, and then Best Man Holiday.
Oh yeah,
I'm interested in seeing that one, which isn't technically a franchise Christmas situation, but this movie is technically going to be a Christmas movie because it happens. What's going on is happening at Christmas time.
Oh, you mean the series?
No, I'm talking about the third installment of the Best Man series.
I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah, it's going to be on Peacock, December 22nd.
That's the series, though.
I thought it was just a movie.
It's a series they're doing on Peacock.
Oh, well, it starts for Christmas.
Yeah. But I can't wait to see that too. They think this is gonna be the final chapter for that series. But yeah. Anything else coming down the pipeline you all excited about?
So I do, Knives Out did a weird thing where they came out in the theaters, but now Netflix pulled them from the theaters and it's going to put it in streaming around Christmas. But of course, the sequel's been getting good reviews. And that's the main thing I can think of.
Can I just say, for the record, I'm not really excited about Avatar.
Yeah, me neither.
I didn't like the
first one.
No, I didn't like because last time it looked more real, like people real.
Oh, we were talking about this. It looks all CGI, all animated.
Yeah. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure it'll be good though.
I'm not really excited about it.
It's expected to do big because the budget it took to make it. It's expected to do really big though.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
sure they will do big. I'm sure they will do well,
Yeah.
but I'm just not excited about it. I kind of
Yeah.
sort of don't care.
Exactly. Yeah, especially since there's gonna be like 3 more after this one. So
Right. Right.
here for the sequels.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for letting us know what to spend our time and money on, what not to. And we'll talk again next week.
All
Thanks.
right.
All right. Good night. Right back
Good
after
night.
this.